If you've spent, any real time on YouTube, you have definitely seen this. A video that is clearly blowing up, it's got thousands of likes, the comments are flying in, but the view count? It's stuck, frozen, on one very specific, very weird number. For years, this was one of the internet's greatest little mysteries, and today we're going to finally explain the secret behind the number 301.
This number, just 301. For the longest time, it was like a ghost in the YouTube machine. A brand new video would drop, it's taken off, the views are climbing like crazy, and then, bam, it would just stop. Stuck. Right here. But why? What was so special about this number?
I bet you've seen it yourself and had that moment of, wait, what's going on, right? How can a video possibly have thousands of likes but only 301 views? It just didn't make sense. It felt like something was broken. But today we're pulling back the curtain, and you're going to see the surprisingly simple reason behind one of the internet's most famous quirks.
So let's break down the phenomenon. A video goes live, it starts to get some traction, and that view counter starts ticking up fast. You see 100, then 200, 250, and then it hits 301 and just freezes. It could be stuck there for hours, sometimes even a whole day, before suddenly jumping up to thousands or maybe even hundreds of thousands of views. It wasn't a bug, not really. It was actually a feature, just a slightly flawed one.
Okay, so to figure out why the count stops, we first have to understand what YouTube even considers a view in the first place. Because it's not as simple as you just clicking play. The platform has a very specific and, for a long time, very secret definition.
So here it is. The most important thing to YouTube is that a view is legit. It has to come from a real human who meant to click on that video. And that's the whole ball game right there. How in the world do you tell the difference between millions of real human viewers and all the other junk out there?
And this quote just nails it. This is the key to the whole thing. Ted Hamilton, who worked on YouTube Analytics, put it perfectly. Views aren't just some number to make creators feel good. They're a currency. They literally determine what's trending, what gets recommended, and where advertisers spend their money. And just like real money, you have to protect it from being faked.
So you've got two different buckets here. On one side, you have legitimate views. That's you, a real person, picking a video you want to watch. But on the other side, you have the counterfeit views. That could be anything from a bot program to just refresh a page over and over again, to even a real person who got tricked by some clickbait title and left after 2 seconds. YouTube's job is to filter all that counterfeit stuff out.
So how does YouTube actually count all these views in the first place? Well, when a video is brand new, the process is incredibly simple. But you have to remember, this system has to work on a mind-boggling global scale, and that's where it starts to get tricky. So at the very beginning, it's super straightforward. You click play, the closest server sends you the video and just makes a little note in a log file. Every so often, YouTube's main system just gathers up all these notes from all its servers around the world and counts the lines. Simple, right? One line, one view. And for your cousin's cat video that gets 50 views, that works perfectly. But what happens when a video starts getting really popular? This is where our magic number finally comes into play. See, YouTube needed to draw a line in the sand, a point where a video goes from being a casual upload to something that might actually be going viral. And that line, believe it or not, was kind of arbitrarily set at 300 views. Below 300, YouTube's like, no big deal. The simple line counting method's fine, but the second a video crosses that 300 view mark, everything changes. The currency is now valuable, and it's time to bring in security. It becomes serious business.
And this is the reason for the freeze. The system literally hits pause on the public counter, so it can switch gears. It goes from just mindlessly adding one view at a time to a way more complicated verification process. It starts looking for weird patterns, trying to spot bots, and weeding out all those illegitimate views. And that process, as you can imagine, isn't instant. It takes time.
Okay, so verification explains the freeze. I get it. But it still doesn't explain the number. The threshold was 300, so why did the counter always stop at 301? Well, the answer is kind of beautiful and also a little bit frustrating. It all came down to a single line of code. The entire internet mystery boils down to this tiny difference. Look closely. The programmer who wrote this code could have just used a less than sign. That would have told the system to stop counting at 299. But instead, they used less than or equal to. That one extra character, that little equal sign, is what created this legendary internet quirk. All right, let's walk through it together. So the view count hits 299. The code asks, is 299 less than or equal to 300? Yep,
True, so it adds 1. Now the count is 300. The code asks again, is 300 less than or equal to 300? Yes, it's equal, so it adds 1 more. The count is now 301. The next view comes in, and the code asks, is 301 less than or equal to 300? Nope, the condition is finally false. The door slams shut, and the counter freezes right there at 301.
Now that we know the secret, that simple little coding error, it also helps explain some of the other weird things people would notice. All those little inconsistencies that made the whole thing feel even more mysterious.
For example, why didn't it always freeze at exactly 301? Maybe you saw a video stuck on 304, or 308, or some other random number right around there. What was up with that?
Well, that's because of all those servers scattered around the globe. Just imagine, the main counter hits 300. But at that exact same instant, a handful of servers all report a new view. They all ask the system, hey, is the count 300 or less? And they all get a yes before the system has a chance to update. So a few extra views basically sneak in right as the door is slamming shut.
And this was always the one that really broke people's brains. You'd see a video with 301 views, but it had 2,000 likes. How is that even possible? It made it seem like the whole system was just completely busted.
The answer comes right back to our currency analogy. Views are money. Likes? Well, they're important for engagement, but they aren't the same kind of currency. There's way less reason for people to build bots to generate fake likes, so they just don't need that same tough security check. So while the view counter is frozen solid, getting audited, the like counter just keeps on ticking up.
So there you have it, a global internet mystery that confused millions of people, and it all boils down to a simple choice between less than and less than or equal to. It's just an amazing reminder of how one tiny decision by one single programmer can accidentally create a quirk that becomes a piece of internet history. Now, YouTube has updated its system since then, so the ghost of 301 is gone, but it really makes you wonder, what other little digital ghosts are still hiding in the code we use every single day?